Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Friday, May the 28th. We do have another 3-game slate for Friday night. As always guys, we're going to go game by game, kind of do a quick overview of this slate, what does stand out to me, taking a first look on Thursday night. So before we get started with the breakdown, as always guys, I would appreciate it if you would click that like button down below. If you are new to the channel here, be sure to click that subscribe button as well and hit the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also do get notified every time I live stream. Once again, I will be live Friday afternoon to close out the week. I'll be live probably around 5 o'clock Eastern time. If you guys do want to come and hang out, I'll be talking through this slate, answering all your questions, and breaking down everything once again in the live stream. So be sure to tune into that Friday afternoon. Hit the like button, guys. Hit the subscribe button, and let's go ahead and take a look at this 3-game slate. So we will start off with the first game of the night, the Knicks and the Hawks. We got Game 3 of this series going back to Atlanta. So starting off on the Knicks side, so far through 2 games of this series, the Knicks have been a team I've kind of rostered a good amount. Like, it feels like every slate so far, a lot of these guys have been underpriced, and I think once again there's multiple guys I have interest in from the Knicks today. So we'll start off with Julius Randle at the top. Through 2 games in this series, he really has not been good. He's definitely underperformed. He's played 36 minutes in both games, has only scored 37 and 38 Draftkings points. I mean, for one thing, the 36 minutes feels a little bit low. Like, I thought we were going to be getting like 40, 42 minutes from Julius Randle. During the regular season, he was playing like 38 to 40 minutes in competitive games. It's weird to see him not playing as many, like, I thought he'd be playing 40-plus minutes a night. I think, maybe as the series goes on, maybe we'll see Randle start playing more minutes. I feel like 36 is kind of low. But the production is obviously, a little bit concerning. He hasn't been that good through 2 games. He's also not shot the ball that well either. 26% from the field in Game 1, 31% from the field in Game 2. I still do like Julius Randle here. The price tag, it did come up a little bit to $9,700. But I still think he's an appealing option. I'll be interested to see what his ownership comes in at. I'm not sure if Randle's going to be popular today or not. He was pretty popular in Game 1 of this series. I can't remember what his ownership was last slate. I didn't play him. I can't remember what his ownership was, though. If Randle's going to be popular, I think I'm fine going elsewhere because there are other studs I do like today. But if nobody's going to play Julius Randle because he's had 2 bad games, this is someone I do have a lot of interest in still. We know he has massive upside. He should get more than 36 minutes, I would assume. So I definitely like Julius Randle at the top for $9,700. And then Derrick Rose at $6,400. He is probably my favorite play overall from the Knicks. Derrick Rose, even though he did come off the bench last game, they did actually start he did start the second half ahead of Elfrid Payton. I'm assuming that Elfrid Payton does not play today, and I'm assuming that Derrick Rose starts over Payton. I'm pretty sure Payton played like 4 minutes in the first quarter, and then he didn't play at all the rest of the game. So it would be very surprising. Honestly, it would be stupid for Elfrid Payton to even start again. So, if Derrick Rose is starting, which seems likely here, he's probably going to play 38 to 40 minutes. I mean, off the bench these last 2 games, he's played 38 and 39 minutes. They kind of took it easy on him during the regular season, but it makes sense for them to, finally unleash him in the playoffs. He's a guy that can play big minutes if he needs to. We know Derrick Rose can be productive when he's on the floor. He can average around a fantasy point per minute. He is a pretty high usage player, a guy that will take a lot of shots, can get rebounds, can get assists. $6,400, the price did come up a decent amount, but I still think Rose has enough upside to pay off this price tag, especially if he's going to be playing 38 to 40 minutes a night. I definitely like Derrick Rose today. He's probably one of my favorite plays overall on this slate. $6,400 on DK. I do like him on Yahoo as well. $24 over there. He's probably my favorite point guard overall on Yahoo. And then you have RJ Barrett at $6,100. His minutes have been a little bit less than I would expect. He played 32 minutes in Game 1, 26 minutes in Game 2. I don't know what kind of minutes we're going to get from Barrett here. Like, they do have Alec Burks they can, give minutes to off the bench, and Alec Burks has been playing really well. I'd be a bit worried about Barrett. I don't know if we're going to get like 38, 40 minutes from Barrett here. Maybe he only plays like low 30s. It's $6,100. He's a little bit risky. I still think he's viable, but definitely a riskier option just because I don't think he's going to play massive minutes. It's, they seem pretty content giving minutes to a guy like Alec Burks, and I think at 5K, I probably would rather just take the savings and play Alec Burks. So far, he's played 26 and 30 minutes off the bench through 2 games in this series, and he's been relatively productive. Had a big game in Game 1, 37 DK points, 24 DK points in Game 2, but he shot the ball pretty poorly in Game 2, only 30% from the field, only 20% from 3, which, was one of the reasons he didn't have that good of a game for fantasy, at least. $5K, in my opinion, is still too cheap for Alec Burks if he's going to be playing 28 to 30 minutes a night, even coming off the bench. I like him a lot at 5K. He's probably my second favorite play from the Knicks, behind Derrick Rose. And Alec Burks is also pretty affordable on Yahoo, only $16 a small forward. I think he looks like a really good option over there as well. Then we can talk about some other guys like Reggie Bullock. He got his minutes went back up last game. Only played 19 in game 1, but he did get 31 minutes in game 2. At 4,900 on Draftkings, I think he's priced appropriately. I don't think he's like a standout play, but definitely viable if he does get like 30 minutes again. He is super cheap on Yahoo. He's only $11 there, so I think Reggie Bullock on Yahoo looks like a pretty good value play. Nerlens Noel started last game, but he only played 17 minutes. We really have no idea how many minutes Noel's going to play or if he's even going to start again. Taj Gibson started the second half ahead of Noel. They could maybe start Taj Gibson today. It seems like Gibson's the guy they want to play right now over Noel. He's gotten more minutes than Noel in both these games. So Noel's a little bit risky. If he starts again, I think he's fine at 4K. But honestly, I'd probably rather just play Taj Gibson. Taj Gibson's been getting the minutes lately. Like I said, he did start the second half ahead of Noel. Obviously, Derrick Rose started the second half ahead of Peyton as well. There's a good chance we see Derrick Rose start ahead of Peyton, then we see Taj Gibson start ahead of Noel. They could definitely change up the starting lineup today, which would make Taj Gibson a pretty good value play. Even if he comes off the bench, I think he probably gets like 25, 26 minutes. If he winds up starting, I think he probably plays like 30 to 32 minutes. He's been, relatively productive when he does get the minutes. He's averaged close to a fantasy point per minute this season. It's really tough to find value on these playoff slates. So I think at 3,800, Taj Gibson actually looks like a pretty decent value play today. Now, if he starts, I'm going to really, really like him. If he doesn't start, he's going to be a little bit more risky, but I'm willing to take that risk at only 3,800. Even if he comes off the bench, he's probably going to play enough minutes to pay off this price tag. So I do like Taj Gibson today. He is super cheap on Yahoo, and the center position on Yahoo is not that great. Like, you have Capella and Porzingis at the top, but outside of that, there's not a ton of standout centers. So I think going cheap at center on Yahoo makes plenty of sense. Paying down for a guy like Taj Gibson for minimum salary, he's a pretty decent value play on Yahoo as well. But that probably does it for this Knicks team. I think we basically covered everyone. Emmanuel Quickley came off the bench again, played 15 minutes. I don't think I'm going to go to him. Like I said, Elfrid Payton, he started again, but he only played 5 minutes. He played 5 minutes in the first quarter, and then he literally didn't play at all after that. So there's a good chance that Elfrid Payton just doesn't start today, and he's just out of the rotation. So obviously no interest in him. I think that's it. I think that's everything I see here for the Knicks that I have interest in. Obviously, my three favorite plays here are Rose, Burks, and Gibson, but I think Randall's in play. I think Barrett's viable. I think Bullock's viable. But that's probably it for this team. And maybe if Noel starts, you could go there, but I'd probably just rather play Gibson, honestly. It just seems like they want to give the minutes to Gibson right now over Noel. So on the other side here, looking at the Hawks, you have Trae Young at the top for 8,600. I was very high on Trae Young last slate. I played him on both DK and Yahoo. He was okay. He didn't have the best game. Played 35 minutes, had 41 DraftKings points. We're going to get probably 35, 36 minutes again from Trae Young. It's surprising that he's not playing more. Like, I'm surprised these guys aren't getting like 40 to 42 minutes. I mean, we're seeing other guys, like other studs, play 40 minutes plus. Like, Damian Lillard's playing 40 plus minutes. Tatum's playing 40 minutes. Like, I'm surprised that Trae Young only played 35 minutes last game. Most nights, I feel like in the playoffs, he's going to play like 36, 38 minutes, if not more than that. For 8,600, he is definitely a viable stud today. We do have Kawhi, for around the same price point, and I think I would rather play Kawhi. He just feels a lot safer right now, but Trae Young at 8,600 is still viable. Outside of Trae Young, though, I don't really like a ton on this Hawks team. Capella at 7,700. Just given the lack of options at center, you could go there, but he hasn't really been that good through 2 games in this series. He's only put up 29 and 30 DK points, but the minutes have been there, which is good to see. He's played 35 and 36 minutes. If you tell me we're going to get like 36 minutes from Clint Capella, we know Capella has 45, 50 point upside when he gets 36 minutes. So he's viable, not a top tier play though. Bogdan, just don't think I'm going to go there. Just 6,900. He feels like an okay play, but not a guy I really need to get to at this price tag. I feel like Bogdan's not someone that's really going to go out there and just break the slate at 6,900. So he feels priced appropriately. Same with John Collins. Really, I don't see much value from the Hawks. DeAndre Hunter, he's 4K. He did play 32 minutes last game. I would say that he's probably my second favorite play behind Trae Young. Now, the minutes, we don't exactly know how many minutes he's going to play. He started in game 1, played 22 minutes, started last game, played 32. If you tell me we're going to get 30-plus minutes from DeAndre Hunter, I would actually like him a lot at 4K. I just don't exactly know if he's going to play 32 minutes again. He is coming back from injury. He hasn't really been fully healthy, but he's been getting more games under his belt. He did play 32 minutes last game, obviously, which is good to see. For 4K, I think DeAndre Hunter is actually a pretty good value play today. It's just, would it be surprising if he plays like 25 minutes? No, I wouldn't be surprised. But for 4K, I'm willing to take that risk. He's super, super cheap. So DeAndre Hunter and Trae Young are my two favorite plays from Atlanta, and that's probably it. So next game, we'll talk about Brooklyn and Boston. On the Brooklyn side, I don't see too much I really like here. James Harden, 10,300. I haven't played Harden so far through both games in the series, and he's not really been someone you needed. In game one, a competitive game, he played 36 minutes, had 53 DK points. Last game was a blowout. He only played 27 minutes, but only had 39 DK points. Like when the big three, when Harden, Kyrie, KD, when they're all healthy, we're just going to see them kind of spread out the production. It's going to be hard to predict which one of these guys puts up a massive game. Harden just feels too expensive right now. I'd rather play Luka, who we know is going to dominate the usage. He's not having to share the ball with a bunch of other stars, outside of Porzingis. We know Luka's going to go out there and just dominate the usage, whereas Harden, he's still having to share the ball with Kyrie. He's still having to share the ball with Kevin Durant. I don't think I'm going to play Harden today. If I were to play any of these three guys, it probably would be Kevin Durant, just because he's been the most consistent of the three. 52.5 DK points in both games so far in the series. Only played 29 minutes last game, but he still was very productive in that time. Durant's just been super solid. It doesn't matter if KD or it doesn't matter if Kyrie or Harden's out there. Like Durant's been producing at a high level all season. 9,600. He's a little bit cheaper than Harden. I definitely like KD the most of all the Brooklyn guys, but I still don't think he's like a top stud today. I'd rather play Kawhi for cheaper. I think I'd rather play Tatum on the other side of this game, who we're going to talk about. I like Luka at the top as well. So that's probably it for Brooklyn. Joe Harris got incredibly hot last game from the field. 7 for 10 from 3. Had had 2 steals and a block. Just very, very fluky game from Joe Harris. I'm not going to chase this. I'm going to let other people chase this. Joe Harris is already not a guy that I ever want to play, and especially if people are going to play him after he had a big game last game. I'm just willing to just bet that he doesn't make 7 of 10, or he doesn't make 7 3-pointers today. If he's not knocking down 6-7 threes, you're not going to get much from Joe Harris because he doesn't really do much with peripherals. He doesn't really rebound that much. He doesn't really get assists. I'm not going to play Joe Harris. I'll let other people chase that. The one thing I think we do need to talk about is that Jeff Green is currently out. I'm pretty sure he's going to be out for 2 weeks. So with Jeff Green out, we don't really know what they're going to do with the minutes. In the playoffs, obviously, they're not going to just give minutes to a ton of different guys. They're just not going to run a deep rotation. My best guess is that we probably see a few more minutes for Blake Griffin, and we probably see a few more minutes for Nicholas Claxton. Blake Griffin's been starting at center. His minutes have not really been that high, but maybe he plays a little bit more now that Jeff Green's out. Maybe he gets 24, 25 minutes, which would make him an okay option at 4,300. And then Nicholas Claxton off the bench, he's 3,100. He's super cheap. He played 18 minutes last game. He played 11 minutes in game 1. My best guess is we get 16 to 20 minutes from Claxton for 3,100. I think he's an okay punt play. I don't have a ton of confidence in him, but super, super cheap. If you want to try and, go stars and scrubs today, if you want to jam in multiple studs, I think, playing a guy like Claxton to allow you to do that is fine with me. I think he's going to get a few more minutes. I don't think he's going to get a massive boost, but he definitely should get at least a few more minutes with Jeff Green out. Then Bruce Brown, I think, also probably picks up a few more minutes. He probably gets low 20s, which would make him an okay value. None of these guys I have much confidence in, but they're all playable. If I was playing a lot of lineups, I would just kind of mix in these guys, just kind of sprinkle them in across all my lineups. But that's probably it for Brooklyn. We can go ahead and talk about the Boston side now. So on the Celtics side, we do need to watch the status of Kemba Walker, who is currently questionable. Now, I'm assuming that he's going to play. It's the playoffs. These guys, most of the time, unless it's a really serious injury, most of the time these guys are going to, push through and play. So I'm expecting Kemba to play. If he does not, if he gets ruled out, which would be very surprising, that would definitely give us some good value from Boston. A guy like Peyton Pritchard for 3,500, might would start. I don't really know what they do with the starting lineup, but if Kemba winds up sitting, I would have a lot of interest in Peyton Pritchard as a value play. That would definitely give a boost to Marcus Smart. It would give a boost to Evan Fournier. It would make Jason Tatum look a lot more appealing as well. So this Kemba news is very important. For now, I'm just going to assume that he plays, but if he doesn't, that'll definitely, make me a lot more interested in a lot of these guys from Boston. We will start off at the top, though, with Jason Tatum. So 9,400, I still think is too cheap for Tatum. Tatum was 10K in game 1, and I liked him a lot then. He was 9,800 last slate. I liked him a lot then. Obviously, he's not been that great. It was a close game in game 1. He did play 41 minutes, but only had 33 DK points. Then last game was just, a total blowout. Only played 21 minutes, only had 22 DK points. I'm pretty sure he did get injured in that game. He got poked in the eye or something, and he wasn't able to play through. He had to leave and did not return. But we've already gotten word that he is going to play today, and I don't really expect this eye injury to affect him. I expect Tatum to be full go. I expect him to play 40 minutes if this is a close game. At 9,400, especially with Jaylen Brown out for the season, with Kemba maybe banged up, I really like Jason Tatum today. He's definitely one of my favorite studs on this slate. I don't know what his ownership's going to look like. He's burned me these last few slates. He's burned a lot of people. But I'm willing to go back there. I've said it before. You have to have a short memory in DFS. I think Tatum's a really good play today. If this game stays close and he plays his 40 to 42 minutes, he's very likely to pay off this $9,400 salary. So definitely like Tatum on DK, and I do like him quite a bit on Yahoo, especially because the power forward position on Yahoo is really bad. Like, there's not a lot of guys you feel great about. You look at the position. You have Randall and Tatum at the top, and then you're looking at guys like John Collins, Gallo, Marcus Morris, Blake Griffin. Like, if I can, I want to try and pay up at power forward on Yahoo for either Tatum or Randall. Right now, I think I give the edge to Tatum, but it's definitely close. Do like Tatum a lot on Yahoo, though, at $43. Hopefully, with him busting back-to-back games, maybe that keeps his ownership down a little bit. He's one of my favorite studs for sure. I'm definitely willing to go back there. And I like that, Boston's going back home for this game. I think that's pretty important. We saw them get blown out last game, but I think them going back home probably makes this, be a close game. The spread right now is still like 7 or 8 points, but I think the Celtics can keep this game close enough to where, Tatum does play his full minutes. So I do like Tatum a lot. Kemba, if he plays and he's full go, I like him a lot as well, 7,300. He only played 30 minutes last game in the blowout, had 31 DK points. Him and Tatum should be the two guys that really dominate the usage, take most of the shots, really run the offense. With Jaylen Brown out, those are going to be the two guys that do a lot of the heavy lifting. So I definitely like Kemba today if he's playing. And then Fournier and Smart, I think, are just secondary options. Fournier for 6,200 probably gets like high 30s minutes. You never know what you're going to get from Fournier. He's a super scoring dependent player. But if he's knocking down his shots, he has upside for sure. I would definitely like him a lot more if Kemba sits, but for now I'm assuming Kemba plays. And then Marcus Smart, would also get a big boost if Kemba sits. If Kemba plays, he's an okay option. He did have a really good game last game, 37 DK points in 32 minutes, but Smart's never a guy that I really feel like I have to roster, especially at 5,900. Like, he just feels priced appropriately. Even if he goes out there and scores 35 DK points, like, sure, that's good for his salary, but he's not going to be a guy that you really have to have. Like, rarely does Marcus Smart go out there and just break the slate. If Kemba sits, I'll like Marcus Smart a lot, but for now, assuming that Kemba plays, I think Smart's just an okay mid-range option, but probably nothing more than that. And that's probably it for Boston. Robert Williams, he was very popular last slate. He burned a lot of people, including myself. Only played 17 minutes. He was in foul trouble the whole game, plus the blowout, didn't really help either. My best guess is he plays like 22, 23 minutes today, which definitely makes him an okay option at 5,200. But now that his prices come up, he's not 4,600 anymore like he was last slate. I still think Robert Williams is playable, but not nearly as appealing now that his price is up a little bit. So yeah, that's probably it for Boston. I think that covers basically everyone that I have interest in. So next game we'll talk about, last game of the night, the Clippers and the Mavs. Starting off on the Clippers side, at the top here we got Kawhi Leonard, 8,500. Really like Kawhi once again. I've been on Kawhi both of these games, so far in the series, and he's been, really, really good. 56 DK points in Game 1, 59 DK points in Game 2. He's played 41 minutes in both games. Like, we're seeing playoff Kawhi right now. He's going to play massive minutes. He's going to take a ton of shots. He just got a ton of upside, and he's just so underpriced right now. Like, Kawhi, when he's in the playoffs, should be like 10K. This is a guy that's going to most nights put up 55, 60 DraftKings points. Kawhi, once again, is one of my favorite plays today. Until DraftKings prices him up, I'm just going to keep playing him. So, love Kawhi today at 8,500. He's also very affordable on Yahoo. They barely priced him up there. $40, I think, is still way too cheap for Kawhi. So, again, one of my favorite studs. And I think Paul George looks like a great option as well. He had a disappointing Game 1, only 39 DK points in 40 minutes, but he bounced back last game with 55 DK points in 40 minutes. Again, Kawhi, PG, both these guys are going to play like 40 to 42 minutes. They're going to dominate the usage. They're just going to take a ton of shots. They're just going to run the offense. The offense is going to run through those two guys. I think you can definitely play especially with how underpriced they are right now. I think you can definitely play Kawhi and PG together. I have no problems with that. So I do like Paul George a lot as well. 8,100. Between him or Kawhi, if I had to pick one, I would give the edge to Kawhi. But I think PG's a great option too. And like I said, I think you can play both guys together. But then outside of the top two guys, Paul George and Kawhi, you're just kind of throwing darts with the rest of these Clippers. Like Marcus Morris, I don't really have much interest in. He probably plays 25 to 30 minutes, but he's just not going to be productive, especially in the postseason. Like the usage is just going to be dominated by Kawhi and PG. Like rarely are you going to see Marcus Morris do much of anything. Rondo off the bench you can maybe go to. He probably plays like 22 to 24 minutes. For 4,600, he feels priced appropriately, but he's an okay option. Serge Ibaka is questionable, which I think is somewhat important. Ibaka only played 6 minutes last game. We don't exactly know what they're going to do with the rotation. Like even though Ibaka only played 6 minutes last game, you still only got like 22 minutes from Zubac. It doesn't seem like they're going to play Zubac massive minutes here. Like they definitely are fine going small, playing Batum at the 5. Hell, they'll even play like Kawhi at the 5. Like they're not going to run Zubac and Ibaka for like 48 minutes or anything. But I would say that if Ibaka does wind up sitting, that would make me like Zubac a little bit more, but I don't think he'd be like this, awesome, top value or anything. Just because even if Ibaka's out, like Zubac could still only play like 22 to 24 minutes just because they don't really, want him out there for massive minutes. Batum's the guy off the bench that's been, seeing pretty good minutes. He only played 19 last game, but I think most nights you're going to get like 25, 26 minutes from Batum off the bench. For 4K, I think he's an okay value play. Obviously not a guy that I have a ton of confidence in, but, definitely viable. That's probably it, though, for the Clippers. I think clearly Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are the guys you want to focus on. The rest of these guys that we mentioned are just kind of like dart throws. None of them I have confidence in, but it wouldn't be surprising at the end of the night if you see, one of these secondary guys from the Clippers, somehow crack the winning lineup and have a decent game. But yeah, I think that does it for the Clippers side. Now moving on to Dallas. Dallas, for me, pretty easy team to break down. You have Luka at the top for 11K. He's super expensive. It's going to be hard to really jam in Luka, especially since we don't have much value on these playoff slates. But clearly, Luka is a good pay-up option. He's been great through 2 games in this series. He's put up 71 and 61 Draftkings points. He's played 41 and 38 minutes. Look, Luka's going to play probably 38 to 40 minutes. He's probably going to score 55, 60 Draftkings points, if not more. The only issue I have with Luka, for one, is the price point and the lack of value, and also we have Kawhi Leonard, and all these other guys for cheaper that, I'm not saying they're going to outscore Luka, but they could definitely put up close enough to Luka to where I don't think you need to spend the full 11K for Luka on the slate. So for that reason, I just don't think Luka's going to be a guy that I force in. Maybe if Kemba gets ruled out and we get some value from Boston, then that'll maybe change things. But for now, I think I'm going to be focusing more on guys like Tatum, Kawhi, PG, Julius Randle, those 9K, 8K guys, rather than trying to spend, all the way to the top for Luka. But clearly Luka has upside. It's just the lack of value is what really makes it tough to roster him right now. Porzingis, though, at 7,600. The price tag did come down a little bit, but man, it's tough to roster Porzingis right now until we actually see him have a good game. Like, he's been pretty bad through 2 games in this series. During the regular season, towards the end of the regular season, he just didn't show much upside. I'm not going to go to Porzingis. There's just too many other guys I'd rather play. And then the rest of these Mavs are just, God, I just don't want to play any of them. Like Tim Hardaway for 5,500. He had a big game last game. He shot the ball really well, but I really don't want to chase that. Like Tim Hardaway's just not a guy I ever really enjoy rostering. It feels like anytime I do play him, he just never comes through for me. He's super scoring dependent. If he's not knocking down a ton of shots, he's likely going to disappoint for you. So I'm willing to bet that Tim Hardaway just has a mediocre shooting game and doesn't go for 40 Draftkings points again. Dorian Finney-Smith, another guy that I just never enjoy rostering. He could play 37 minutes and score 15 fantasy points. He's just not a very high upside player. I'm probably going to look elsewhere. Maxi Kleber is currently questionable, so this will be something to monitor. He did start last game, played 34 minutes. He's actually played big minutes so far through 2 games in this series. 36 minutes in game 1, 34 minutes last game. If he's playing today, if he's in and he starts, I actually like him a lot at 3,700. He's one of the few guys this cheap that actually, we feel good is going to get the minutes. If they're going to continue to play Kleber 34, 36 minutes a night, I mean, he's not a very high upside player, but he's too cheap still for a guy that's going to play 36 minutes. He's too cheap at 3,700. So if Kleber plays, I actually do like him a good amount for value as a punt option. If he's out, that probably gives a few more minutes to guys like, Tim Hardaway and Josh Richardson and Dorian Finney-Smith. we'd have to wait and see what they do with the starting lineup. If Kleber sits, I'm going to be interested in whoever starts, so we'll have to monitor that. But right now, I'm expecting Kleber to play. Kleber was questionable last game and he played, so I'm expecting him to play today. And like I said, if he does play, I like him for value for sure. But that's probably it for Dallas, and I think that covers everything, guys, for this Friday night 3-game slate. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. As always, I do appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, click that like button down below. Click that subscribe button as well, and also hit the notification bell, so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also do get notified every time I live stream. Like I said, guys, I'll be live once again Friday afternoon, probably around 5 o'clock Eastern time. So if you guys do want to come and hang out, I'll be breaking down the slate on my YouTube channel, talking through everything and answering all your questions as always. But that's it, guys. Appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Best of luck tonight. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.